Hello everyone, and thanks for watching this video. I'm starting this new series called Coding for Absolute Beginners, with the goal in mind of helping someone who has never touched code whatsoever begin dabbling with code, maybe build some small projects, and just get an overall idea for what coding is. I want to first start by explaining the goal of this series. This series is intended for those who really have never touched any code whatsoever, but are somewhat technically savvy, mess with computers a bit, and are interested in getting their feet wet. Maybe see if coding is something they'll enjoy as a future career, or maybe even just for a hobby. If this kind of explains you, the series is perfect for you. You don't need any prior experience. For those who have already coded, the series might be a bit too basic for you. However, if you're a bit hazy on any specific topics, watching that video on that specific topic might be useful for you. I am planning future videos on more advanced topics such as data structures, algorithms, and general interview prep, so look out for those in the future. In this series, we'll be using Python, and I'm hoping to cover the basics of code, such as variables, functions, conditionals, loops, classes, and etc. I won't be going to more complicated topics, such as data structures and algorithms. Those I'm planning for the future series on interview prep. I'll quickly talk a bit about myself. I've been coding for the last 12 years or so. I'm currently 27 and I started code around 15 in high school. I did my undergrad in computer science and now I'm working at a FANG company. I am well versed in many coding languages, including Java, C, C++, and obviously Python, and have worked in many others as well. I do have a lot of experience and I think a lot of expertise, but as is the case with any topic, I know I don't know everything and I'm prone to mistakes. So please do let me know if anything I'm saying is incorrect or can be done better. And always, feel free to leave a comment with any questions or feedback. I will take a look at everything. A good first question to tackle is, what is code? One answer is code is how you communicate with your computer. Your computer obviously doesn't know English, so therefore you have to translate your thoughts into something that your computer can understand, which is code. This isn't necessarily accurate since your computer doesn't natively understand most coding languages, but those languages are really simple to automatically translate into something your computer understands. There is a lot more nuance and depth here, but on a whole, this is a good way of looking at it. Another kind of similar way of looking at this is code is like an instruction list that you give to your computer. Think about how you explain something simple to a friend, like making scrambled eggs, for example. You would say something like, crack 2 eggs in a bowl, then add some milk, then whisk everything together, and heat pan with some oil, and so on and so forth. Code is exactly like that. It's just a list of instructions you provide to your computer to execute. The goal is that by executing these instructions exactly as you specified, the computer accomplishes an overarching goal, just like your friend accomplishes the task of cooking scrambled eggs. Obviously, the end result of all this is getting your computer to do complicated tasks for you. I think coding, and computer science in general, is especially unique in that that's all there is to it. You have a computer, you have your brain, and you have everything you need to write any code and make the computer do anything you desire. From video games to complex simulations to even AI. That's literally all you need. In that sense, this is a very creative and accessible field or hobby. You might ask, why did I choose Python for these videos? Well, Python, I think, is an easier and accessible first language to learn compared to some of the other languages. This isn't to say it's any less capable. You can do anything and everything in Python that you could do in other languages. So Python is great in that it's powerful, but yet somewhat easy to pick up. I will point out some of the major differences in other languages as we go through learning Python, but on the whole, you will gain the fundamental knowledge to easily pick up other languages by the end of the series. Another reason that I chose Python is that Python is very hot in the field right now. It's a very popular language and is used throughout industries. And in areas such as machine learning and data processing, Python is kind of the go-to language for those. Okay, let's start by installing Python. I'm currently on a Windows machine, so I'll go through the Windows steps here. I will say that as you get more into code, I'd recommend using a Unix-based machine, such as Macs or Linux distro, like Ubuntu. But seeing as most beginners use Windows, I will do my tutorials cater to that. Start by opening up PowerShell. PowerShell is a command line shell, which you don't necessarily have to understand, but if you heard of terminal or bash, it's similar to that. All you need to know is that PowerShell is a program, just like Chrome is a program. And it's a program that allows you to interact with your computer through typing commands, and you can do such things as running code through these commands. When you open a PowerShell, you should see this screen. This text right here tells you what your current working directory is. All that means is this is just where you're currently located. Similar to if I open up a file explorer, this is where I'm located. This is my current working directory. That's all that means. There are many commands that allow you to interact with your current working directory. For example, the command ls lists the files in your current working directory, which you can see here. There are other commands that allow you to change working directories, such as cd, and many more commands. In fact, there are countless useful commands in PowerShell, to the point that you can pretty much do anything you want just in PowerShell. But this is enough knowledge to get started with coding. Start by typing in the command Python. I already have Python installed, so this is what I'll see. If you don't have Python installed, you should see a pop-up that will allow you to install it. If you don't see the pop-up, I'll put a link in the description that will take you to the page to install. Once you are done installing, you should see what I see on my screen here. The next thing you need to install is a text editor or an IDE. Text editor is where you write code. It allows you to open and save files containing code and to easily edit the code in the files. And analogous for documents is Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word allows you to create, edit, and save Word documents in a similar manner. An IDE is just a text editor with extra features, so that checking your code has no errors while you type. There's a lot more that an IDE can provide compared to a text editor, but I'll let you guys figure out what. For this video, I'm using Visual Studio, which is an IDE. I'll provide a link in the description for you to install. Now, we have everything we need to create our first Python program. Let's start by creating a file by going to File, New, File, and then creating a text file. Let's now save the program. Here, a pop-up appears to save the file. We can call this whatever we want, with the exception that the file name has to end with .py, or the extension py. Just like how Word document files can end in .docx, all Python files have to end with this extension .py. This is what tells the computer that this file is Python code. I'm going to call my file helloworld.py, and then save the file. I called my file hello world because I'm going to write code to print hello world to the screen. This might sound a bit dumb, but it's something that every programmer starts with. I'll even go as far as saying that it's a programmer meme to write a hello world program whenever you pick up a new language. The next thing we'll do is open up PowerShell or a terminal in Visual Studio. We'll do this by typing in Control-Shift-P, typing in terminal, and clicking on the terminal link. Now, you should see a terminal on the bottom of your screen. This is identical to the PowerShell you opened before, but now it's in Visual Studio, so you don't have to keep moving windows around to get access to this. It just makes things convenient. Now, I can run my program. I run my program by typing in the command Python, and then the name of the file I'm going to run, which is helloworld.py. You might notice that there's a / in front of hello world. This indicates to PowerShell that the file hello world is located in the current working directory. Without that / PowerShell does not know where to look for that file. A tip here is to use tab completion. So for example, here, if I type in Python and then H, the first letter of hello world, and hit tab, PowerShell guesses what it thinks I want to type and completes it for me. This is a very useful feature. You will notice that nothing was outputted, and that's just because our program is empty, so there's nothing to output. So let's go write our program. Before we do that, another useful tip, press Ctrl-L to clear PowerShell. So first type in the word print with parentheses. Print is a function provided by Python. We will go into what functions are later, but all you have to know is print is provided by Python, and it will print, aptly named, on the screen whatever you're provided inside of the parentheses. So I'm going to provide the string hello world by doing this. And then save it. Notice I wrapped the words hello world in double quotes, although for Python, single quotes are fine as well. By wrapping it, I'm indicating to Python, or more specifically the Python interpreter, which I'll get to later, that this is a string containing the words hello world. This isn't 100% accurate, because what I'm actually doing here is constructing a string with the words hello world exclamation point, and then giving it to the print function. A string is what's called a type, which I'll get in the next video. But in terms of the print function, all you need to know is that when print receives a string, it'll output to the screen the contents of the string. Now, if I run my program, I see the words hello world printed to the string, which is my program works. I can change the string to something else, like, let's see, I wrote my first program, save it, clear the screen, and then run it. And now I see that new string. So like I said before, print whatever you put into parentheses, it'll print it to the screen. In the case of strings, when you pass print a string, it will output the contents of the string, the words here, to the screen. Great, we wrote our first program. I think that's where I'll end this video. Please comment if you have any questions so far. And stay tuned for the next video where I'll focus on variables and types. Thank you.